Oh man, I spilled water all over myself. These fucking plastic water bottles are like just so flimsy. Like if you put just the slightest bit of pressure when you're trying to open the lid, like it just crunches underneath your fist and squirts water all over you. I remember as a kid, they were much more sturdy. And I know, it's all because plastic is bad for the environment, so we gotta use less of it. But I mean, if we're recycling it, can't we still continue using like massive amounts of plastic? Just a little thought there. Welcome back to the Baywatch Nights spin-off. Not just of well, I guess it's kind of appropriate that Baywatch Nights is a spin-off of Baywatch, and Velvet Owl watches Baywatch Nights so you don't have to, is a spin-off of Velvet Owl watches movies so you don't have to. Only appropriate. And we are getting into season 2, episode 1, in the 23rd episode overall. And I'm excited because this is the season where shit goes off the rails and they get all like supernatural and shit, and was the entire reason I wanted to watch Baywatch Nights. And not that the first season wasn't fun at times, but I just want like this totally like off the wall shit that supposedly happens. I just recently read David Hasselhoff's autobiography, and fuck him. That's all I gotta say. Because he did not care for Baywatch Nights. He did not like the show to begin with, and really didn't like that the second season went into like Supernatural's X-Files type stuff. So, I don't know. David Hasselhoff seems to think like he's some like great, majestic actor, and he's done a lot of charity work, which on the one hand, like, good for him. But man, it was so fucking annoying reading about it. Like, there are so many stories of dying children whose dying wish was to meet Hasselhoff. Which, okay, I could buy in the Knight Rider age. Yeah, because he's Knight Rider, so kids are going to be like, yeah, really, I want to meet the car, but you're also there, so, if you can't get to meet Kit, you'll settle for Michael Knight. But during the Baywatch era, were kids really wanting David Hasselhoff? Or were they? I mean, maybe if they were young girls, but the young boys, I think they wanted Pam Anderson. I think they're the. I think she's the one they wanted to meet. I really gotta stop doing my podcast right near the grandfather clock that goes off like every 15 minutes, or at least time it better so that I'm not recording while that thing's going on. So I apologize. Um, Sometimes I don't record in this room. It all depends on a variety of factors. But yeah, back to, I just don't believe kids really wanted to meet David Hasselhoff during the Baywatch era. But maybe. But the part that really kind of just drew me over the edge was he meets this girl in an elevator who's a big Hasselhoff fan. And this is like towards the end of the Baywatch run. So, yeah, I guess maybe he had like some major fan. And he says hi to her and gives her an autograph photo. And then later her mom contacts David Hasselhoff to tell him, you did great work because my daughter tried to kill herself, and then she met you and you said hi and gave her a photo, and now she has a reason to live. Which just kind of feels like a bullshit story in my opinion. But maybe it happened, but it, like, Hasselhoff's autobiography just felt a lot like Hulk Hogan's autobiography, that you feel like, I think you're stretching the truth somewhat in a lot of these places. But enough about my reviewing Hasselhoff's autobiography. We are starting the second season of Baywatch Nights. This episode's called Terror of the Deep, which again, we're going into like the sci-fi shit this season. So I'm guessing there is a monster underneath the water, and only Hasselhoff can stop it. And if Hasselhoff can save suicidal girls, he can save the town from this terror of the deep. The show's already starting off letting us know that this is going to be a different kind of Baywatch Nights. Some dark music's playing while Hasselhoff is walking through a dark fog. And it says Baywatch Nights. And you can just feel like, hey, this is a spooky show now. And so Hasselhoff and a female lifeguard. I don't recognize her, so I don't think she's like a regular lifeguard from Baywatch days. But granted, there are Baywatch days lifeguards that I don't know because they didn't go on to become famous. And I never really watched Baywatch days aside from like an odd episode here and there. So she could be like a regular at this point on the show, or might not. She might just be, well, we couldn't get any of the actual actresses from Baywatch days, so here's a bodysuit for you. And there's an unconscious woman in the water, Asian. I only bring up Asian because I feel like it's gonna tie into her story. But she's unconscious, so Hasselhoff gets her out of the water and puts her in the boat. They do some CPR, which, according to Hasselhoff, Baywatch has helped save numerous lives because it taught people how to do CPR. I'll take your word for it, Hasselhoff. I'll take your word for it. So they do CPR, and she comes back to consciousness, and she's just yelling in her native language, I think. Or she might just be yelling gibberish. Like, I don't, like, it sounds gibberish, but I don't want to be, like, insensitive and racist if she's actually, like, speaking a language. But having watched, like, Asian films in the original Asian language, that just sounds like all sorts of racist because I'm lumping it all together. When in truth, it's having watched Godzilla films in their original Japanese. None of these words sound like Japanese, but I don't know for sure she's Japanese. So I don't want to be like, oh, she's just talking gibberish when she's talking in an actual language, but it does sound like it legitimately does sound like it's gibberish and not actual words. Maybe she's speaking in tongues. I don't know, but she sounds very scared. I don't think she's the terror of the deep, but I think she has seen the terror of the deep. Now, the next day, I think, uh, Hasselhoff's at the outside patio of the bar where the detective agency hangs out in. Are they still a detective agency? I don't know. Because I hear Garner's not in this season, which is very sad. I love Garner. He, like, kicks so much ass. And can you really have a detective agency without Garner? I don't know. He was the one that did most of the detectiving. But Hasselhoff's reading the paper, and Donna D'Arco walks by, not wearing a bra, and her nipples are kind of like just full on stretching the fabric of her shirt, which, okay, maybe sexist or misogynist of me to point that out, but uh, they knew what they were doing here. they, I heard before that, the actresses on Baywatch would ice down their nipples before shooting just to get them hard so that they're just poking through the fabric because they knew that that's what people want to watch. And honestly, if you told me Hasselhoff iced his nipples before shooting, I would believe that too. But yeah, that's totally what they're going for. So I'm just pointing it out because they made it obvious. That's what they wanted me to notice. So Baywatch Nights producers, I noticed. And I'm not really sure what she talked to Hasselhoff about. And there's this guy, Teague or whatever. What kind of name is that? He's a fan of Tegan and Sarah. He is the original Teague. And he puts, oh my. Tegan's a lesbian, so it would never work, but how funny would it be? Well, there's other Tegans, right, in the world. So how funny would it be if Tegan or if Teague here banged some girl named Tegan and says, I put the Teague in Tegan. Oh yeah. You know what I'm talking about. And if you do, I'm thankful for that because I don't know what I'm talking about. But Teague gives Donna D'Arco some book about like past lives or whatever. But he's on his way to go see Hasselhoff because that's why he's really there. He just gave Donna D'Arco a book as a way of thanking her for her wonderful nipples. So Teague has to talk to Hasselhoff about the woman that he rescued because she kept saying Ajargu, Ajargo. I've already forgotten what the word was. But, okay, my bad for saying she was speaking gibberish. I am the asshole there. I could have sworn it just seemed like it was gibberish for whatever language she was speaking. But no, she was actually saying an actual word, Ajargu, Ajargo, a something, which apparently is some ancient spirit monster from New Guinea, which I don't know, they were she I don't know, is she from New Guinea or what, because Teague believes that this woman was on board some ship that sank. So was the ship near New Guinea? Because Darjargu, he's an evil monster, and if boats get too far off the track and too close to him, he will destroy the ship. So Teague thinks that, maybe it was Darjargu who sank the ship and she survived for 3 weeks, which is like, And Hasselhoff's like, a week top. I don't know if she would be able to hit 3 weeks. And Hasselhoff definitely doesn't believe that there's some monster there, but Teague's like, she was really scared. She saw some crazy shit. And Hasselhoff's like, whatever, but if she actually is from the ship, there might be some other survivors, so we're gonna go find them. And so that's why I'm not sure where the ship sank, like, because New Guinea is not near California. Like, not in the slightest. Or is it? I should probably look that up. But I'm pretty sure New Guinea's nowhere near California. So how is Hasselhoff gonna fucking swim to this shipwreck? So unless it's near California, at which point Darjargu has left New Guinea and has come to California, which I guess is kind of your typical like bad sci-fi plot. The evil monster has left its country of origin and is now in the United States. So Hasselhoff calls over Photo Boy, and I'm like, really? They got rid of Gardner, but they kept Photo Boy. Oh. So they're going to go off for swimming. And then opening credits. I love opening credits. Except no more song. No more after the sun goes down. Someone's going to live. Someone's going to die. Which those lyrics seem like they would be perfect for a season built around monsters. But no, we just get like some bad light jazz instrumental. And Teague's in the opening credits, so he's gonna be a major character. But no Gardner and no Lou Rawls. Which makes sense because Lou Rawls was only for the first half of the first season anyhow. He kind of just disappeared, but still managed to get into his. Maybe getting rid of Lou Rawls, since he sang the theme song, they had to get rid of the theme song. He's like, oh, you fuckers are gonna fire me? Well, I'm taking my song with me. But the one redeeming part of this opening credit sequence, because Hasselhoff's walking through the fog while there's shots of, all the actors looking scared of various things. But then at the end, Hasselhoff steps out of the fog. He's wearing the brown Adidas bomber jacket. Oh, yeah. So at least we kept that. And, I gotta say, Hasselhoff's autobiography did not fucking mention the brown Adidas bomber jacket at all. So the Hasselhoff crew, which is what I think I'm going to start calling them, because I don't think they're really a detective agency anymore, so Doesn't seem like it would be right to call them the Hasselhoff Detective Agency. But they're on their boat, the Lamer. Okay, it's La Mer. It took me a while to, you know, realize that's what the Nine Inch Nails song was titled, was La Mer. I always thought it was Lamer, and for some reason, to make it like all like pretentious and stuff, Trent Reznor had just like split the title, so it's Lamer. But no, it's not Lamer, it's Lamer. Though in the instance of the Hasselhoff crew, it's kind of lamer. And they send a submersible, a robot one, not like sending actual people like the Titan submersible, because they would be crushed. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm too lazy to come up with some dark joke about the Titan submersible. They send the submersible. They're looking around, and Angie Harmon's wondering, like, well, why don't we just let the Coast Guard take care of this? And Hasselhoff's like, yeah, they tried. They lost some divers. And it's like, oh, okay, so the experienced Coast Guard divers disappeared. If I were you, Hasselhoff, I would let Photo Boy take this completely on his own. Please, please, please. Oh, Photo Boy's gonna survive, isn't he? So Hasselhoff and Photo Boy make the dive, and they're looking around because the submersible found like a little area that could be an air pocket, which would explain like where like she could survive inside that air pocket for a week at most, as Hasselhoff told us earlier. Not 3 weeks like she survived. So something is weird, but they decided, let's go dive and see what we find. And oh boy, they found something. They found the body of one of the divers. At which point I would be like, yeah, I'm getting the fuck out of here. We found a diver. He's got the full like suit. Like, it isn't like Hasselhoff and Photo Boy where they just got like their snorkels and their tank. No, this guy had like the full diving suit with the hose that was theoretically to the Coast Guard boat at one point, but something cut through that tube. And yeah, and Angie Harmon, always being the sensible one, says, guys, you probably should get the fuck out of there. But they're like, no, let's dive some more and see what else we can find. Oh boy. So Hasselhoff and Photo Boy are swimming around and they find the sunken ship. Oh, excuse me. And they're searching around it, and they find an area where it's not completely submerged in water. So they can take their mask off to, conserve the oxygen tanks and all that. But is that possible? Is it like one of those air pocket things that I don't even understand to begin with, anyhow, how that works? But I can understand if the ship, was sinking, but still, somewhat not even surface level, but the water was still like coming in. There'd still be that like space where you can breathe oxygen. But if it's down at the bottom of the sea, is there really going to be a section, unless it's like had been completely sealed off, like hermetically and shit, like completely watertight? Would there be any sections where you could breathe because there's no water? I don't know. But, as they're like searching around in the boiler room, which I don't know, I guess the boiler room doesn't sink. I don't know. I don't understand the scientific aspects behind it, but they're searching around and there's some creature lurking behind them. I think it's the terror of the deep. We don't really see the creature. We just see like its weird slimy hand, some sort of monster. And then the boys see something. And they're talking to Angie Harmon this whole time, and she's freaking out because she can't see them and she doesn't know what's going on. And they keep going silent for long periods. And it's like, you need to keep talking to let me know what's going on so that you're not being attacked by the terror of the deep. And they find something shiny, like a necklace. So they decide to grab it because, it might belong to someone. And one of the, you know, next of kin of one of the victims might want to keep the necklace, want to have it as a memento, but it's kind of stuck, and they pull hard on it, and then it's attached to a skeleton. Which again, I'm not like 100% sure, but the ship sank 3 weeks ago, and it's at the bottom of the water. Is that enough time for it to decompose into a skeleton? Because doesn't it like decompose slower like in water? And so like, yeah, you'd see some bloated bodies, but would you see a skeleton after 3 weeks? I don't know. Could possibly be. According to Hasselhoff's autobiography, he was very like strict on like the scripts, and he was there overseeing everything. So maybe he did like consult with like the autopsy guys and people who are in the know, and found out that yes, within 3 weeks, submerged underwater, a body can decompose completely to the point of just being a skeleton. Of course, there is also the other possibility that it was a skeleton before the ship sank. They were just lugging around a skeleton for whatever reason. I think that one's more likely, and I'm going to go with that one. I believe that's what's going on here. I called it a necklace, but it's more of a big gold chain with a huge medallion on it, and Hasselhoff's trying to describe this to Angie Harmon, and he's wondering, where's the ship bringing back artifacts from New Guinea? So this makes sense now of what's happened. The ship was at New Guinea, near the monster's home. Someone stole this medallion that clearly belongs to the monster. So the monster snuck aboard the ship to get the medallion back. Which, I sympathize with the monster. Someone stole his shit. He was just trying to get it back. And if that wasn't enough for me to sympathize with the monster then attacks Photo Boy. And I'm like, yes! Kill him! Kill him! But Hasselhoff is there, and he saves Photo Boy, and the monster swims away. But he bit Photo Boy really good, and there might be venom in there, so fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Like, seriously, we lost the psychic halfway through the first season. What are you doing, cats? Yeah, my cats are getting into trouble over something. They'll be fine. But yeah, we lost the psychic in the first half of the first season. We lost Lou Rawls. We've lost Garner. But we got Photo Boy, who's been bit and has venom, and they're asking Angie Harmon for help, and she calls the Coast Guard, but, they might not survive long enough, because the Coast Guard's going to get there, but they're going to have to, like, cut through the hull and all this other stuff, so they might not make it in time, so they have to escape, but they can't go back the way they came, because the monster's there. So Angie Harmon's looking through the schematics of the ship, and finds a possible ventilation shaft that they can try to get to escape. Photo Boy starts wondering, maybe the monster's just scared of us. Possibly. But Hasselhoff's like, yeah, that's not really going to help us in this situation anyhow. We got to find a way to make for it, but the monster's in the way. So Angie Harmon's been studying up and looking, the Ajushu, or whatever what the fuck was the other guy's name? The new guy. He's just going to be new guy to me until they add an even newer character to this. Um, yeah, he was talking about the monster, so Angie Harmon looked it up, and apparently they had found one off the coast of New Guinea somewhere, and it had been killed by being suffocated. Which I would think if they had actually found a, a Juju monster, this would have been probably a big fucking deal. This would have been big news. Or it might have just been a government conspiracy to squash the story, and we would never know of the terror of the deep. So they decide, you know, we can't wait for the Coast Guard. We're gonna die from because we're gonna use up all the oxygen or something, or the monster's gonna eat us first. I mean, yeah, why not try to hide out best you can? But they decide, well, we gotta suffocate it. In the process, also possibly suffocating ourselves. But they start a fire to zap up all the oxygen in the air, and then the monster attacks. Kind of, maybe, sort of. I don't know. Every time the monster attacks, like, the screen just gets so fucking blurry, and the slow motion it's not even like quick edit camera shots. It's like weird, blurry, slow motion zooms and pans, and I don't know what the fuck I think the monster kind of looks like a merman. It kind of looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon, but I can't quite tell until it's dead, and even then I can't really see what it is, and it now looks like just a big furry coat or something. I don't know. So the monster makes one last attack and then I guess dies. We're not fully told. I feel that we are not giving a satisfactory explanation of what happened. Well, there's still some more time, so maybe we will get an explanation. I just don't know what the fuck happened. Well, now that they're pretty certain that the monster's dead, they're looking around to make sure there's no survivors. And they do find a kid. Or maybe two. I thought there was just one, but later David Hasselhoff refers to kids, plural. So maybe there's more than one. But they have survived 3 weeks of being submerged underwater. Sure. I would find that one harder to believe than the lady floating in the water had survived for 3 weeks. Because at least she got out and into the water. These kids are stuck there. Was there any food for them to go? And by the way, like, where were they pooping? Like, that's the thing. If you're surviving in a sunken ship for 3 weeks, like, maybe an adult would know, we can get over here and poop there and stay away from the poop. But the kids know enough that they're going to be able to find a separate area. And, like, if they go poop in the separate area, they might even be, susceptible to the terror of the deep attacking them and eating them while they're trying to poop. So many logistics. Like, okay, like, if you have to, like, pee in the water, like, okay, like, that's not too bad, although over 3 weeks, that's going to build up. But the poop is going to build up so much. Like, you're going to fucking die of, like, dysentery or something at that point. Although, if you're not eating, like, by the end of 3 weeks, you probably don't have much to poop out anyhow. But, then Coast Guard comes and they save them, and hooray. And the new guy keeps asking Hasselhoff, like, did you see it? Did you see the monster? And Hasselhoff's like, I saw something. I don't know what I saw. Could have just been some crazy crew member. Sure, crazy crew member who survived 3 weeks. Are we forgetting that? Are we forgetting that the ship sank 3 weeks ago? That was like the whole, like, Hasselhoff was, like, indignant earlier about there's no way anyone could have survived 3 weeks. And now we're all like, well, I guess, if you accept that kids fucking survived for 3 weeks, then a crazed crew member, that's possible. And also, where's the body? Where's the body of the monster? Is the monster dead? I assumed the monster was dead. I don't know, because I couldn't see what the fuck was going on. There was just all that slow motion. And I don't know. But, if the monster died, shouldn't have the body been there? Although maybe the Coast Guard took it away and hush hush. So we can't let this get out. Fucking conspiracy theories. I hope this show doesn't take like a overarching conspiracy theory thing. Because that to me is what kind of killed the X-Files, in my opinion. I preferred the whole like Monster of the Week format for the X-Files. So I hope Baywatch Nights is gonna stick to a Monster of the Week format, and there isn't like some big conspiracy theory of the government trying to hide these monsters. But apparently they do, because the Juju monster, no one knows what happened to the body. And then we get the end credits, in which sadly we lost the end credit song as well, because I don't think Lou Rawls even sang on the end credits. I think that one was just Hasselhoff singing, and it wasn't as good as the opening credit song, but it still had like personality. Now we just still got like this smooth Kenny G shit going on. So my thoughts on season 2 so far of Baywatch Nights. I don't know. I mean, I kind of dig the whole idea that it is going to become like the X-Files Baywatch edition, or is it Baywatch the X-Files edition? Whatever. There's going to be monsters and supernatural. That sounds cool. I'm willing to see where they go with this. Like if it's going to be like kind of fun and silly, like the first season just at times would go so over the top. This episode was not over the top enough to really, for me to consider it fun. And I couldn't really fucking see the monster. And again, we lost a lot of good cast members. And we lost the fucking theme song. I don't care. I am going to keep singing it. After the sun goes down, someone's gonna live, someone's gonna die. Which that whole fucking thing is gonna be more apt for this season when there's monsters. Because someone is going to die. And the someones that live are gonna be the Hasselhoff Detective Agency. And I hope the mailman didn't just hear me like screaming and go like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy in this house? I should probably go check the mail. So with that, I bid you adieu, and come join me next time as I watch another episode of Baywatch Nights. And by my calculations, 21 episodes left. We're there. We're almost there. Not almost there enough, but we will eventually get to the end, and hopefully my sanity will be mostly intact. I love you guys.